All right, Diane, we're ready to cook.
Oh, I'm excited.
I know you spend a lot of time in the kitchen. In fact, you do a lot of your cooking at home. I think you do that when you're home.
I do.
You do that all the time.
All of my cooking, yeah.
So I thought that I would give you another couple of ideas to take home.
I would love it.
These are really easy. And they're very quick, and they're down your alley because I know you love vegetables. You tell me all the time that you go to the farmer's market, you pick up what's special, what's seasonal, what's fresh, and then you come home and create.
Exactly.
And that's sort of the way this recipe evolved. It's a very simple pasta dish. So it's a base of carbohydrate is whole grain pasta. Okay. And for protein, we're using white beans. And for fiber, we're using kale. So a vegetarian pasta dish with just a little bit of feta cheese at the end, which of course is optional. You know, you don't have to do it that way, but I think that kind of rounds it out. So let me get started with some extra virgin olive oil. As you know, the extra virgin means that it has the best flavor and the highest purity. So we need the least amount because every drop is gonna contribute just a little bit more flavor benefit. So just enough that we don't burn the bottom of the pan.
Good.
And of course, we like to start all of these dishes with some garlic. Oh yeah. And you know, we like to start with something that people are familiar with, because when you don't do a pasta dish that has meat or something like that, sometimes your guests are like, okay, well, something's missing. Like, this is more like an appetizer than an entree. But the truth is that you don't need the meat. What you need is something that smells good and looks good.
I got it. It really smells good.
Yeah, it's very fragrant. So,
so this is the kale?
This is some fresh kale. Now, we steamed it a little just to get a head start.
So that's the big leaf kale.
That's the big leaf kale. Now, you can use baby kale. You can use red kale or blue kale or any kind of kale that you can get your hands on. But I like the dark, rich green color of this. And since I don't want to add any more oil and I don't want to burn the bottom of the pan, I'm going to add in a little organic vegetable broth. And that's just enough to give it some juice and keep that garlic from burning. And the vegetables can continue to cook a little bit. And now,
did you blend the garlic? That's one thing I noticed right off the top.
I did not. That's just fresh garlic that we mince. And we set it up like you talked about setting up your meals in containers.
Yeah.
We set up our ingredients in these little containers, food-safe containers designed for food. We keep them in the refrigerator. And that way you don't have to start completely from scratch. You know, you're starting with some of the harder stuff already done, like the beans. I've pre-cooked the beans, and these are just white beans. Now, you could use cannellini beans, black beans, red beans.
You could freeze this ahead of time, couldn't you? I got two great ideas from you today already.
Oh, good.
The chopped up garlic, and you could do that, you know, so you can just put more in.
You can do it at the start of the week and do it all week long. And the beans
could be frozen.
Put them in 8-ounce containers or 2-cup containers, and you're good for the week.
Good.
And then the same beans can be reused in many different ways.
See, and I think that's the key, Jackie, is doing it ahead of time. Then it's easy. This is fast food. Really good fast food.
Yeah. This is that, and you mentioned that that's really been one of the challenges, right?
Yeah, that's the key.
And then another not so secret is, of course, to have these salt and sugar-free spice blends available. This is one of ours. It's the Mediterranean, but you know, you don't have to have ours to make this recipe work. You can do your own. And this is a brand new bottle, so I'm gonna do another little trick that I like to do, which is to crush the seasoning and really releases all of the flavor in the dried herbs. Now, I'll let you stir for me here while I clean my hands. And I love the smell on my hands of those seasonings, but I also appreciate having something to kind of clean my hands and add a little more flavor to it. And so I'm going to take some lemon and go right into that with some fresh Meyer lemon. And I'm going to clean my hands too.
Wow.
So now my hands smell like lemon, which I love.
So you could use lemon or lime.
Lemon or lime, either one.
Okay.
And you just want a little bit because we're not making a tomato-based sauce here. We're making a vegetable-based sauce. So I'm going to go ahead and add in now some pre-cooked. I pre-cooked a little bit of vegetable penne, whole wheat penne. And again, you don't need much.
You could freeze this as well, couldn't you?
You can. Pasta will lose a little bit of texture in the freezer.
freezing, okay.
So when it comes out, what you could do with this, which would take care of the texture issue, we're going to serve it just fresh out of the skillet. But let's say you had frozen the pasta and it had become a little watery when you defrosted it, and you were like, oh, it doesn't look beautiful anymore. Well, you take it, you add in some mozzarella cheese, you pour it into a baking dish, you bake it, and now you have a baked pasta bean vegetable casserole as opposed to the way we're doing it here.
Cool.
So you
this
see,
is
it's
fast,
very
though.
easy.
This is great.
Look at how easy that is.
Yeah.
And now to add just a little bit more protein to it, because we know we like cheese. This is low sodium, low fat feta cheese.
Cool.
And it's just going to be enough to, again, bring some color to the dish. It adds a little bit of salty flavor, because you notice we didn't add any salt.
Yeah. But it would add that extra. Now, see, that's what I love about watching you, because you know those little tricks to put into it to make it so it's gourmet.
Well, it's a dressed up version.
That's right.
Of a very rustic Italian dish, which is, you know, pasta with white beans. And so it's a pasta fagioli upscale.
Here you go. I'm going to get you a plate.
No, this is going to be your plate.
Is this
Diane.
my plate?
This is
Oh,
your
good.
plate. All right, so maybe I need
Good.
to dish
No.
up for you. And then
I'm
you
ready
can
to
grab
try that.
You're ready to
'cause,
try
boy,
that?
That looks
All right.
beautiful. One thing that Jackie told me a couple weeks ago is my food was a little boring, so I had to come down here to jazz it up, and I can see why. Oh.
Hot, hot, hot. Careful. Yeah?
5 stars.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. Well, you know, Diane, I know that viewers are going to
Delicious.
want to keep in touch with you. They are going to want to know not only how to contact you just to hear your story and hear more of your story, and of course tipping the scales in your favor to find your book, but they're also going to be interested in following you for your travels. So what's the best way for our viewers to
Just
find you?
Go to my website. It's www.dianethomas.com. And I do have I spell it different without an E, but I also have the one with the E. So either way, dianethomas.com.
All right.
And if you want to see Johnny Carson and me, you can go to my website and watch that today. So.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for coming
Thank
down.
you.
It was always a pleasure to see you. We're going to keep working together
you.
and keep up the good
Thank you. And
effort.
You have been a fabulous coach. So if you need a
what
good coach,
sweet
call
That's
Jackie.
nice.
She's
Thank
the
you.
best.
Oh, thanks, Diane.
You're welcome.
For more Food Exposed, check me out on emPOWERme.tv. And until next week, remember, make food your best friend and exercise your companion for life.